This is me clocking in. Hello! Welcome to Oops All Dragons. This is me clocking in. My name is Lisa, and I'm in my girl boss era, question mark?
I think you are.
No, it's more just like, I'm encouraging other people to girl boss. I'm really not built to girl boss. I'm built to girl rest.
Okay.
Girl lounge.
Okay. This is Varun, by the way. If you don't know this by this point, like, what are you even doing?
I mean, listen, this may be somebody's
True.
first episode,
You know
and this
what,
is all
yeah.
very confusing, and they're like, wait, there's supposed to be dragons here, where are the dragons? We're gonna get to the dragons. Don't worry. Today
boy,
especially,
we're
we're gonna get to the dragons.
Yeah.
Don't you worry about that. Relax. But first, we are, like, people who do things other than play D&D. Not a lot of things that aren't playing D&D, but some things. And, Varun, you want to give us some examples of some things that aren't D&D that you've done recently?
I've been playing Triangle Strategy for the Switch. Very fun game. It's, your JRPG sort of thing. It's one of those where you have to make a lot of hard decisions. Do you save your friend the prince, or do you give him up to keep the rest of your people safe, or do you ally with this nation or that nation, or that sort of, all that sort of stuff. So I've been getting to the end of that game now. Again, the choices keep getting harder and harder as the game goes on. The ending is going to be pretty, bloody, it looks like. Friends become enemies, enemies become friends, that sort of thing. Uneasy alliances, all that politicking medieval stuff. So that's what I've been doing. Hopefully I can finish it today or within the next couple days. I'm pretty close to the end.
That sounds fun. I love being presented with consequences.
Mm-hmm. And it's
making a choice and then being like, yeah, okay.
It is, and I do appreciate it's a game that gives you choices, and the choices seem to actually matter, versus a lot of other games where they have the morality choices, but it's literally just do you get the blue or do you get the orange kind of look or whatever. Yeah, the stuff that you do legitimately affects the path of the game, which I do appreciate. And then other than that, we had a board game night last night, so we played a bunch of stuff. Sushi Go, a game just called Hibachi, where you have to throw poker chips onto hibachi items and sell or buy or sell them at certain prices to make dishes, and that was a whole thing. And then Slaughterhouse, which is a very elaborate game about you being the monsters in a cabin in the woods situation, trying to hunt down the Scooby Gang, essentially. And whoever gets the most kills or whatever wins. And then the last thing we played was some actual Texas Hold'em poker, and I just took everyone's money. I sniped my brother, his girlfriend, and one of our other friends. Everyone went all in one shot, and I just took all their money, and I just big dogged everyone until the end of the game. Terrible.
I mean, somebody's got to do it, but terrible.
It was a really good hand for me. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to last couple days. What about you, Lisa?
As far as games I've played recently, I played this tabletop card game called Anomia. It's been out for a very long time, but this is the first time I've actually played it in person. And it's fun. Basically, each card has a category and a symbol on it, and as you go around the table, you pull cards from a deck and you put them out in front of you, and the goal is to if there's somebody else on the table that has a card that has the same symbol as the card on yours, you have to yell out something that's within the category that's on that person's card before they yell out something that's to do with your card. So, like, let's say we both have a card that has, like, the same symbol on it, and yours says, city in Europe, and mine says, famous cat. I don't know. I have to yell out, like, Paris before you yell out
Garfield.
Yeah, exactly. And it's pretty simple, and the chaos comes in just, like, it's hard to think that fast.
Okay.
And it, especially when, like, half the table's inebriated, then it's a real good time.
I guess that's fun.
Yeah, no, it was really fun. It was really fun. Yeah, and I of course I lost majorly because even at, like, normal speed, I talk very slowly. So in a game like that, my brain, it's just like, I think I got like 10, and then, like, somebody else at the table got, like, almost 30. It's a really big disparity. I'm just like, damn. All right, crazy. Other than that, I've been I don't know, just trying to go outside, put on some little outfits, and enjoy the world. Taking walks.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really anything exciting going on in my life. I've been getting introduced to some new music. Half of the people that I hang out with are not in the city right now, so I'm just kind of twiddling my thumbs. Yeah, that's me. Niki, you've had a big couple weeks.
Our guest, who we haven't introduced.
Oh, we haven't introduced her yet. Oh my god, what am I doing? So professional. We've only been doing this for almost 2 years, and I still don't know how to actually do this. LOL. We have in the virtual studio today, legend, icon, girl boss, long awaited. We've been holding off on bringing her in because we knew that she would kind of break us. We've got our good friend Niki on the pod today. Say hi, Niki.
Hey.
Number one girl boss, Niki.
I clocked out.
Oh, you clocked out! I'm proud of you.
You did girl boss them. Ha!
See, clocking out is girl bossing. So how have you been? What have you been up to? I haven't actually spoken to you in, like, an embarrassing amount of time.
Couple months.
Yeah,
it's only been a couple, but that's okay. We all be busy out in these streets.
Yeah.
Niki, what you been up to?
So I've just been chilling with stress.
Me and my homie Stress.
Yeah, we've been best friends for the past few months, trying to plan a wedding. It's been the worst. Don't do it. I don't. Just elope if you're thinking about it. Save your money.
Hey.
No, but it was fine. Yeah, that's really all I've been doing. Put everything on hold, life-wise. So here we are, back in the mix.
But now you're married.
Yeah, but now you're married.
Yeah, so much has changed. Now I have a roommate.
Wasn't he in your place before that?
Yeah, that's not the point.
Let her tell her joke, Varun.
Gosh, such a buzzkill.
All right. Anything not marriage related?
Nope, now I have free time again. And it's
you
bliss.
Just now have free time again.
I know. Hey, you don't know until you start doing it yourself. Like, everything is a DIY experiment.
Okay.
And your house looks like, I don't know, like a floral bomb just went off.
Right.
You don't realize how much you just like not having to do shit.
All right.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Because you used to do event planning, right?
Yeah, but then I quit that to get like a real adult job where, I don't have to depend on do people like me at an event or sit outside in the hot heat or, whatever the case might be. But
Niki's
it's still stressful.
In her girl boss phase.
I'm so glad that you think of it as a phase. Men,
No, this is a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle.
Yeah, but to men, it's not. To Varun, it's not.
I mean, to you've gone, like you said, you've gone from like having to plan events and like do that stuff to be like, I'm in charge of everything.
Yeah. I mean, this just pays more. I go where the money is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. But you know where the money isn't? At the table. I don't know. Right. Listen, I have not been succeeding with my like transitions into the conversation. But hey, Niki, you're a nerd, right? Like you're a girl boss, but like you're also
I would like to think that I was cool.
You're cool, and you can do both because you are a girl boss. But that's not. We're not here to talk about being cool. That's a different podcast. That's oops.
What time does that come on?
That one. The programming schedule hasn't been quite hammered out yet, but that one's called "Oops, All Studded Belts."
Okay.
Because my definition of cool was solidified in 2011 when studded belts from Hot Topic were actually just phasing out.
Got in the tail end, my god.
Yeah. Remember when Hot Topic used to just sell, like, alt clothing and fashion, and now it's nerd shit?
No.
So let's talk about nerd shit.
I don't remember a time when Hot Topic didn't sell nerd shit.
Well, you just weren't there. You just weren't outside. That's fine. That's okay. Have I told the story of, like, when my friend basically called the, like, the trip pants and the studded belts and the goth stuff the extra stuff at Hot Topic? And I'm like, what?
It's the extra stuff at
That's
Hot Topic.
The extra stuff at Hot Topic. That's the... It's short-circuited my brain. It really did.
I love that. I'm going to refer to it as that now.
No, please don't. That hurts me so much.
It kind of makes me feel like an adult because, like, that's exactly what my parents would say. Like, hey, all this extra stuff, all this extra black stuff,
all this other shit that wasn't making money.
Implying that the main thing that makes up Hot Topic is the nerd stuff.
Yep.
It's the Rick and Morty merch. And the extra stuff is the
band shirts and the SpongeBob SquarePants meme shirts and all of that. That's why that store exists. Not the goth bullshit.
Oh my god.
I feel like life is a lie right now. And I don't even know how to process this.
No, it's like
your friend
in a certain way. No, it's you come to this country at a certain age and there are just certain things that you just don't know about until somebody tells you. But like, I don't know. That one really stresses me out. I think about it often. Hi, Gil. I don't know if you're ever gonna hear this, but Gil, I think about that almost every single day of my life.
Just tag him when this episode.
I don't know how I can not think about it right now. I'm
Lisa,
just like,
your Hot Topic died a long time ago.
Yeah. Listen, as soon as they went to that like minimalist logo and they actually put lights in the store, it was dead. No illumination. No, enough. It's really that was when society started to spiral.
Really? It's because like for me, it was when they changed the doors.
Yes,
and
the doors.
The doors. So as soon as they stopped, like they just put regular glass doors. I'm like, everything is dead.
Yeah.
What were they before?
They were like cool black like gothic doors. Oh, they had like actual design.
It was like gates.
Yeah, they were gates.
I think I vaguely remember this.
There was absolutely one at the Coral Square Mall.
I did not invest enough of my time or personality into Hot Topic to give a shit about their
Varun,
somebody wasn't a mall rat.
Yeah, you're a dyed-in-the-wool, you were inside. You're a proper nerd. Like, you're a real nerd. You're not, like, one of these, like, cross-discipline people.
Sounds like somebody wasn't a disappointment to their parents.
Oh, no, they love me. Like, I'm the apple of their eye.
Oh, my God. it's good to know that there are people in this world who...
I got you, boo. I'm here for it. I lived a life. I got you. Varun does not have you, okay?
Oh my god.
I've got her in different ways, not in this way. Fuck Hot Topic. I hate going
we got
there.
that.
Listen, I'm gonna tell Nova.
Nova knows. Nova's been there with me. When I'm just like, fuck, we have to go in this place?
Oh my god, how could you? Listen, you've got to at least entertain it a little bit. Anyways,
the church of Hot Topic.
But you know what they have at Hot Topic?
What?
That's the actual extra stuff?
What?
They have D&D merch.
They do now, yeah.
They have Critical Role merch. You can buy dice at Hot Topic.
Buy dice, yeah.
But now they have Lunchbox. Box lunch? I can never get it lunch.
Yeah, box lunch. That was how the thing came up, because my friends and I were at a mall, and my friend Gil was going, I want to go to box lunch, and we were all like, what the fuck's a box lunch? Mm-hmm. And he said, it's like Hot Topic without all the extra shit.
It's an FYE.
It's a fucking FYE. But it's an FYE without even having, like, the rows of CDs. Like, it's an FYE without the stuff that makes an FYE an FYE. Like, it's...
I'm not gonna lie, I really like that place, and only for the Loungefly bags, so...
The grip that Loungefly bags have... I can't. I have maybe seen one or two Loungefly bags that I thought were cute. They don't do anything for me.
Out of the thousands that they make every day?
Yeah. I think that's kind of the problem for me, is there's just too many of them. I'm just like, oh good, it's Cinderella's castle as a backpack. Mm-hmm. Congrats. I remember when Loungefly first started putting them out, forever and a year ago, you know, and now they're just like this, like,
see, it's for nostalgia for me, though.
Yeah, I feel like I barely go a day without seeing somebody with a Loungefly bag.
But to me, they just keep on coming out with everything that, like, hits my childhood. Like, nobody talks about the Rescue Rangers, but Loungefly does. Nobody talks about the Goofy movie, but then bam, I see a Goofy movie backpack, and I'm like,
movie.
People on the internet talk about...
The show Atlanta literally did an episode about the creation of the Goofy movie in a somewhat unrealistic way, in that apparently the Goofy movie is apparently the blackest movie ever made.
An argument can be made.
It's a very interesting episode. Single dad, Max tries to conform by dancing and doing basketball. Like, they make some points, but it's also, like, obviously a joke.
Yeah, like, I've never seen the show.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
You've never seen a Goofy movie, Nikki?
No, I'm talking about Atlanta.
Oh,
get it together, Varun.
It's very good.
How many times have I tried to transition us into talking about D&D,
like
and then we just keep getting sidetracked? Yeah, this is going to be a really good episode. I see you doing
it, but, like...
I'm doing my best here. It's just, you put the three of us in a room, and we're just going to talk about whatever, so, I mean, we could just do that. But I am sincerely, because I don't think I actually know anything about, like, what nerd shit Nikki was doing before we started playing together.
She played D&D before, like, either of us.
Yeah, I didn't really know that. Can somebody... Nikki, can you please
get into D&D?
Why are you a nerd? How are you a nerd? How did you get here? When did you start? What, like... Start like David Cobble?
It all started when my brother used to bully me. No, but... as far as D&D, actually, Varun's the one who got me into D&D. I wasn't into D&D before, but I do appreciate that you thought...
No, you told me. You played when you were in high school, right? You never got into it beyond that. But you
it was like one game, and I think I fell asleep halfway through. But
so
I really got into it when you try to start like an all-female campaign. You're like, this is going to work.
I tried.
I'm going to be a male. Yeah, but then you split us up because there were so many of us. Mm-hmm. So...
Had a lot of takers.
Yeah, but we finally finished that campaign, like, what, 4 or 5 years later?
It was a good one.
Yeah.
there's still
good.
a whole half of there's still the whole other half of the campaign that we just can't
going.
So you're
Try
saying
to
there's
get
a chance.
session together. My God. But yeah, so I think yeah, like way back when you must have mentioned this, Lisa. You were part of that original all girls game that I was starting up. So there's a couple things I want to ask you around that. But first off, yeah, how was that? Because like you'd had some experience obviously before, but this was your first time getting into it, actually wanting to do some sort of longer term D&D thing. So like how did you like approach it? Was it just like, if it's fun, cool, if it's not, fuck it?
Yeah, basically. And that's how I do most of life, so I think that it just works in that aspect. But no, it was a lot of fun.
I do like that initial couple sessions that we did of just like learning the game.
Yes, and so we had that campaign, and I think Max had started a different campaign that was terrible. Where
you burned down the tavern in the very first session of the guy who was giving us the quest. Don't make me
a wizard or a sorcerer with like firepower, and just be kind of a dick DM. Where you're just like, oh, you lost by like a second, everything's dead, and I'm like, you know what? I'm burning your whole thing down.
You burn the tavern, and then metaphorically, you burn the campaign down.
I did what I had to succeed in life. So yeah, that's where we left that one.
So your first character was Valmine, the water genasi sorcerer?
Yes.
So how did you come about that? Did you just like choose a bunch of things?
So it was my first campaign. I didn't know half the words meant. Now I clearly do. But I think it was just like, oh, that sounds cool. Abilities, yeah, cool, let's do that. So it just, kind of one by one started coming together. I just didn't think I would enjoy it as much. So when I first started, I was like, okay, all right. Damn it, I'm a nerd. So I think that's, how we all find out, right?
Yeah.
All right. And then Valmine grew from just being kind of a really edgy character. You were very Batman-ish to start. Just like, I want revenge on someone for something. But you're being kind of cagey to
finding that revenge?
Yes, that never went away, but you also became like the leader of pretty much every group you were in.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. It's just
you were kind of the only one who had your shit together in that group. Or at least that was the impression that we all got. Yes, you were Auntie Valmine. And
that doesn't make it better.
Listen, those first couple of like months,
I feel like I went from like
Lucian,
Batman to like Mando. Like
you all did get a child very soon.
We did
after
get a
that
child.
Campaign started.
Yeah, but it wasn't mine, thankfully.
But you would still protect him with all of your might.
I mean, wasn't there like a time period where Lucian would call you mom? And we kept being like, no, auntie. But like, also we were not taking responsibility.
Exactly. Nobody wanted to step up. It's like, oh, you have these two characters who are clearly the parental figures, but somebody else has to step in and be like, no, it's these two. Can you take responsibility? And you guys are like, I don't know who you're talking to. I'm gonna go out for a drink.
You were not the stepmom. You were the mom that stepped up.
Oh.
It's true. I don't know what you... Listen.
Get your shit together. That's what I'm saying.
We eventually got it together. It's just that right now, it's the out of game getting it together that needs to happen. But like, hey, left him in good hands with Kahalia's dad in a keep that
I have
we
so
got.
many questions at this point.
We'll have a time when y'all can get
No,
together.
this is the time.
Character.
This is it. This is it. This
no,
is me.
I want Mel and I want frickin' Caitlin there too, just to like everyone talking.
But I just really want to tell Niki.
Fine.
So basically, after Val and it was Valmine and
Nymphetta.
Makla's character, yeah.
They split off.
Y'all left, and we were like, oh no, now we really do have to like step up. And we adopted another child, and then got like another person to come sort of just be like fun uncle.
Let me just get this straight. You couldn't take care of one child, so you're like, you know what's a really good idea? Let's get
Another
two
one.
so they can keep each other company.
Exactly. It's like cats. It's like cats.
Do you have cats? Because I don't think you should have them. If that's...
That's why I don't have cats.
Got it.
You know, just to help keep the marriage together, you know, just get another kid. You just stop another one.
Listen.
That's not a toxic relationship if I've ever heard one.
Don't summon that into Dot and Kahalia's dynamic. That
they're still technically not married. Hell,
Listen,
they haven't even gone on like a date, really.
What?
They've only just barely started holding hands. Varun, you don't understand the intricacies of sapphic courtship.
After like so many years, no.
The rituals.
It's been like 20 years and you guys still won't admit that you have feelings for each other?
The rituals are so convoluted. Please.
I'm not the only one. Niki has issues as well.
Well,
what rituals to go ahead and be like,
your
hey,
son has already flown the nest. You are empty nesters now.
Oh, so you don't even have a demon child anymore. Got it.
They still do. He just doesn't live with them right now.
Yeah, no, but we Skype him every day.
Did we roll to see if Skype exists in that world?
We have like a sending necklace or something, a sending spell or something?
Yeah.
We have a thing. We have an item.
You have a thing to communicate with him.
Yeah, and last thing I know is I went into the group chat and I joked about like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if like it turns out that Lucian's been like sneaking out and going to parties and shit. And then Varun was just like, yeah, you guys should really check in on your son. And I was like, excuse me?
So let me get this straight. You, after so many years of having Varun as somewhat of a DM, you haven't learned that anything you say in front of him, he will use against you.
Anything you say can and will be used against you. The thing is like, it's like I knew exactly what I was doing by like, you know, saying this joke in the group chat, but also I'm like, damn, you actually took the bait. That's crazy. I stuck my foot in a bear trap and it actually closed on me. Who'd have thought?
That's crazy. I literally told him for Valman's story that, hey, you know, I just don't get along with my sister.
Yep.
He literally built this whole, like, where she just took over the whole kingdom and murdered a whole bunch of people.
I was gonna say, so to kind of talk about this original campaign we were part of, you're all just traveling in a group, you adopted a kid, and at some point, you got separated. So the two Genasis went one way, and then Lisa, Dot's character, and you guys went the other way.
I'm Dot's character.
Dot's character. And then that became two different campaigns. One's still going, one's done. So you kind of talked about what's going on with your side, Lisa. So from that break, when you guys all split up, Niki, give us from your perspective, give us the timeline of what happened after you guys split up, because Lisa knows none of this.
I was briefly part of that campaign for like 4 games.
We basically split up at the hotel when we burned down the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I think I was captured at some point to the next portion of the campaign, or this new split onto the campaign. But that was crazy because I think we had 8 people who were trying to be part of this new campaign.
Yeah.
And that, I know it sounds crazy, didn't work.
It wasn't my idea. A bunch of people just showed up. I'm like, okay, I'm running for twice the amount of people I thought. Let's try to make this work.
I don't know how many times I died in the campaign, but it was a lot. I think it's like new campaign starts, instantly dead.
Well, to what? What happened? Because you guys burned down the hotel that was, to be fair, taken over by like one of those shape-shifting slimes, but in the ensuing mess that happened.
Well, after that, so after I was captured and getting taken back to
your homeland,
the Genasi's, kingdom, there's like a dragon that's now loose and decides to eat me or bite me, even though I'm like, don't do it, we could be friends. And he was like, no, screw yourself.
Why was that dragon loose?
But that was in a different campaign.
Oh, no. That was just us doing a one-shot. And yeah, you got killed by a dragon. But that was you being a bird person, being weird.
No, that wasn't the one. That was when we were... that was True's campaign.
Oh, yeah. No, let's stick with Valmine.
No, I'm saying that's why it was released, is because they went ahead and released it in the other campaign.
This is all of Niki's stories. So in another campaign, this thing happened, and we let a dragon go. So now, in this campaign where I'm Valmine, guess what? It grew up, and now it's attacking the entire city.
I was literally two different characters in the same
world, not the same campain.
But I felt like whatever I did as one character, it was affecting the other one.
That's just how it worked out, baby.
It was the...
So yeah, that same dragon that you guys let escape because your sister, for some reason, had been just gathering up dragons to do stuff with, now had come back as an adult dragon and was attacking your Genasi city of Alcancé to just adult lightning dragon just screw everything up. So it was them, 8 players against an adult lightning dragon, adult blue dragon, as I believe the first session of that campaign.
Yeah, so it just went wild from there.
You polymorphed it. You were pretty quick. You were actually
I did. I turned it into a small little puppy.
Yep.
Which nobody did their job, and I was like, take it to the outside of the city, and they're like, okay, and they didn't.
They took it to the exact opposite place. They took it to your sister, who had dragon controlling abilities, and almost took control of that dragon as well. But yeah, she was gathering up an army of dragons again for some reason. But yeah, it got kind of wild. Dragon attacks, political intrigue, Niki's sister, or Valmine's sister, being orchestrating a coup, essentially taking over for the Genasi royalty. All of this because Niki, one day, I'm just like, okay, how evil is your sister really? And like, what did you send me?
I was just like, yeah, she just wants to be ruler, and you're like, ruler, you say?
No, you sent me something else. She's like, no, she's like, she eats babies or something like that. You're like,
and that was my mistake, Lisa. I said something as a joke.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't tell me that on text as a joke, and you never clarified that it was a joke.
Varun doesn't do jokes.
Yeah, no, I got that.
I'll do a joke, but you never clarified that it was a joke, so I made her the evilest person on the planet.
No, cartoonishly so.
Cartoonishly evil. And yeah, it was a whole thing of you mustering up a resistance, and then
soul bonding to a dragon. The same dragon who tried to kill me.
Yeah, you have to you mustered up a resistance, but then also the dragons begin attacking the city. So you guys retreat, but you find this witch who's going to give you these powers, but you have to climb a mountain and do a thing and release all these old gods that were forgotten previously. All of this very taxing because you guys didn't have a lot of chance to rest in between. Until finally you got to the mountain, you signaled the gods, you soul bonded to the dragon. I give you a chance to do that. You didn't kill him. You became his friend, and that's gonna be an interesting thing if we keep on going with Valmine. You're just attached to a dragon now, and then eventually bringing back a dragon and an army and another army from a different town, from a different campaign that we're not going to talk about this second because it's a whole other story. To finally defeat
I will say
your
one
sister.
thing that I love about that campaign is that I have a giraffe boyfriend named Raphael.
Yeah, let's talk about True a little bit.
Oh my god.
But that is number one. Number one with a bullet, giraffe boyfriend. Raphael.
And I'm with Goliath, by the way.
Oh my god. Yes, that's right. Oh my god. I've heard some stories of True. Wait, did I?
Well, I was gonna say. So the last thing we did with Valmine is you figured out what was going on with your sister. She was basically being controlled, although still pretty evil. By another evil god. You guys were able to defeat the evil god after doing a whole metaphysical sort of traversing the time and space Doctor Who style type of thing. Like, what was that? Because that was like, must have been like 3-ish years, maybe even a little more. Just going through, you were the same character. You almost died a bunch of times in that whole time.
I don't know. Every single time I died, I was like, cool, I'll never see this out. And then it's like, nope, you're revived. And I was like...
I was going to say, there were a lot of times, like, I never went out of my way to just, like, straight up save you. Because, yes, the campaign was based around Valmine and your sister and all this stuff. But, like, if you die, like, you're going to die. That's got to be the consequence of it. So, like, you got real lucky. You had some friends who just always were in clutch helping you whenever you went down.
Oh, for real? Because, like, the DM doesn't care about me.
It's not that I don't care. It's that I want to
see
fair.
this through.
Yeah, there's no plot armor in a Varun game. There is no plot armor.
No.
No. He's just like, you gonna die today. And I'm like...
It's not that there can be what you call plot armor, but it's not that because, like, with Saul's character, he died, 2 sessions in? And, like, had this really, really, like, cool character, nice character, and is, like, just joined the game and all of that, and died immediately. I was like, I can't make him roll with a new character just, like, after 2 sessions. Like, that's terrible. So I made him, and we talked about this, and we'll talk about it whenever he gets on, of the horrible choice he had to make with his god to come back to life. So you can live. There's things that can make you live, but you're no longer whole.
You're back but different.
Yeah. So Valmine, like, this is interesting because I don't think I've ever actually done one of these all the way through, like a revenge quest. You've done your revenge, you've got your revenge, yes, saved your city, all of that. So, like, now what would Valmine, like, do now that the vengeance is complete?
I think for her, it's just more so cleaning up her sister's messes, because you have to think about there's just so many dragons that are still almost just left homeless, in this city that they don't belong in. So at this point, it's just her getting them back to their home.
All right.
And she had the opportunity of going ahead and, becoming the new leader of this town, of this city, of this kingdom, but it's not really her place. She's not a ruler. She's just more of a adventurer.
Oh. And you would also adventure with your boyfriend who you thought was dead for a long time until he makes it all the way. He made it all the way to the end, disguised as someone else, and then that's the very last thing that we do. Your boy, who you went on this vengeance quest for, is actually alive.
But not even him, because I have this new dragon friend who I'm soul bonded with. I can't really leave him as well.
I want to keep playing with you and Valmine and just like figuring out what happens with her. What happens with her life now with all these things are going on. But that like very epic. A lot of stuff going on there. I gave you like the Cliff Notes version of it. What was your like highlight of playing as Valmine?
Even though I died a bunch of times, I think that the fact that she kept on moving through, and it was always something that was coming up that was unexpected. You know, hey, we have to go ahead and defeat this whole city, but how do we do it with just who we have here? Oh, we're going to go ahead and get the gods involved. So it was always something that you just weren't expecting. But Valmine in general, she's just very strong. She's just a very strong character. Very nonsense.
Nonsense?
Yeah, very no nonsense.
Oh, no
Yeah.
nonsense. Okay.
Yeah, she's very much like,
yeah,
this
that's
is
the
what we're
opposite.
doing, this is what needs to get done, and we're gonna go and do it.
Yeah, there's no, you know, I played the other character in the same world, True, and she's very fun and bubbly.
She's a
and
teenager.
She's a teenager, so a lot of it's nothing is serious. Everything's a joke. Everything is, she's just learning the consequences. While Valmine's just like, everything has a consequence. She's been through so much. If there's anything that happens, we know that there's going to be a consequence to it. So it's very interesting to see both of them in different lights, because one's learning and the other one's kind of over it.
And speaking of consequences, I'll let you, and we can cut this out if you don't want to talk about it, but True probably had the worst consequences of her actions
Oh, no.
I have ever seen in any D&D game ever.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
I mean, we can talk about it. It's a wound for her that, although it's her first like real consequence, you know. And unfortunately, it was just the biggest consequence that any player should face at the end of the day. Especially somebody who's I don't want to say she's chaotic good, but since she's so young right now, she's chaotic good.
She's pretty chaotic. She's enticed a guy to be like, hey, big boy, like come over here and like.
But had no game plan.
And then immediately like knock him out and lock him in a room and it's like, yep, that happened. All right, continue.
Yeah, so she's not really seeing the consequences, but I think every single time she does something and gets again a real consequence, she starts becoming more stable. But she has a long way to go.
So what we're referring to, which is I think been alluded to once or twice in the past, but you're the one who I want to have on because it was your character who did this, and that just like shut down the table for like 5 minutes. The party was tasked with figuring out what's going on in some part of this jungle where time seems to have regressed. They investigate the area, and it looks like time has been reversed somehow in a
but
small
we're also
localized area.
Like we're almost like police in a
you're
way.
you're like magic police, so just like figuring
magic
out
isn't
what is
supposed
this
to be
magic
there
fuckery
unless you
going
have
on?
like proper permits.
Your proper time travel permit or whatever.
Yeah, I don't even know what form to fill out for that, but you need it.
The T-35.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, so they're investigating this thing, and there are aberrations in this house that they begin to investigate very trepidatiously, and they start to attack. But they realize there's a baby on the second floor of this house, in the room on the second floor. So, I believe someone starts the house on fire. So that was one thing that was going on. Just like the house just is on fire because that's a thing that happens with you. But then one of the aberrations is next to the baby, and True, in her youthful zeal, uses a spell to attack the thing and try to kill it. Lisa, have I told you this? Like, do you know what spell that she used?
Mm-mm.
Let me see how you react. So, no one's around. It's just the enemy, and it's next to this baby. And she uses Ice Knife.
Oh.
Yeah, you get it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, you have the reaction that I had when she said she was going to use Ice Knife. And I think there was a moment of just like, are you sure you want to do that? And, Niki, what was True's response?
Yeah, let's do it. It almost like there's just not understanding the consequences, not understanding the strength of, of each spell. Because it's almost like she has to learn herself, and the only way to learn is to make mistakes to kind of figure out what things are.
So, you use Ice Knife on the thing, and I think you hit the thing, but that doesn't matter, because you don't kill it, but she doesn't realize that Ice Knife also has a radius once it hits something.
Mm-hmm.
Everything around it also has to make a save. And, babies do not have very good stats, even if you're just using regular human stats. The thing essentially just had 1 HP, did not succeed in that roll, and was not alive the next round.
Yeah, so unfortunately it was just like, okay, you have 1 roll to save this baby and you need to roll at least an 11.
Yeah.
I rolled a 10.
Yeah.
And it literally, close. It rolled a 10 and everybody just was like, I think we needed like 5 to 10 minutes from that point.
The whole game stopped at that point. I'm just like, I had to make sure you were sure. And I'm like, oh, okay, you're gonna do this. You know what your magic does. Apparently she did not in character know what it did. And yeah, just, it was one of those things that was just like, no one was expecting this to happen. And like one of the party members, one of the heroes killed a child. Just cause, as a matter of collateral damage. And it's just like,
and even in the game, you can tell like the character was like almost regressing.
Everyone was.
Yeah, and it almost felt like the next game or the next chapter, everybody hadn't seen each other since that moment, and it's like you can tell that when they got together, it was just like, okay, well, we all went through a shit show.
It was one of those times where like in and out of game, just like everyone froze. Like in character, they didn't know what to do. Out of character, all the players were just like looking at each other, just like, did that just happen? Niki, what did you do?
Yeah, so like,
Noel was in that. Noel was in that party as well. Mm-hmm. So he's doing our editing. He's familiar of the situation as well. It's one of those where it's just like no one planned on this. It's one of those things that maybe we should have had like an X card or something like that of just like, nah, that doesn't happen in the world. But then just like we all just like went with it and rolled with it, and it just became a character moment for True and the rest of the party as well, but especially for True, of just growing and having to realize that her powers are or can be extremely dangerous.
But unfortunately, it wasn't like the last time either that she made like a terrible decision.
What was the other one?
The time stick. The time.
Oh
stack.
Yeah. Speaking of dragons, yeah. That same
Where
dragon.
She just felt like that was the best thing to do.
That same dragon who's been hounding you guys, you specifically, Niki, through multiple campaigns, through multiple characters, sends you all on a quest, different group of people, to receive, to get a staff of time that's locked underground that it can't get to. And through battle and adversity and riddles and literally moving through a volcano, the party finally does it. True gets her hands on it, and the first thing she does with it, seeing what, just hearing what the rest of the group wants to do with it, of just like all this stuff, or, can we use it, can we give it to the dragon, and all this stuff, she throws it into the lava, and destroys this artifact level magic thing immediately after the party gets it, which, ooh, that was interesting to deal with in and out of game.
So for Churro, she was like, oh, well, if it's so powerful, then nobody should have it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how everybody else saw it.
Yeah. I had no plan. You destroy the item, and I have zero plan on what to do at that point. So I'm scrambling a little bit. The rest of the party members out of game are... because we just end. We just end at that point. I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I need some time. We've already been at it. We've gone through the entire quest. We'll just come back next week and just figure out what's going on. And in the intervening week, everyone in the group is texting me of just like, yo, I want to kill Niki, or what can we do? What can we do about this? Like, is there any way we can undo this? And just we can't undo it. Like, it's what she did. It wouldn't be like fair if I just hit the undo button on that.
But the crazy thing is, like, it didn't really change too much from everything.
It changed a lot. You just didn't know what would have happened if that dragon got that staff. Like, in the world, it changed a lot. But it's set true.
It was fine.
I was gonna say, so y'all were already spent. Pretty much all of your magic, all of your resources gone, and you have to face this dragon who sent you on this quest, and you've destroyed the thing it wants. And in a moment of just like incredible roleplay, our buddy Ben, who's going to be on one day after he runs his own thing, he wants to do that before he comes on. He sacrifices his character, not to death, but he sacrifices his character, who is a paladin, to servitude to this dragon, and changes his deity, essentially, from following a god to being bound to this dragon and doing its bidding. And in that moment of just giving himself up, the rest of you are able to escape, barely with your lives. And that was insane, because again, he hadn't discussed that with me ahead of time. I was expecting folks to just try and murder you. You were trying to sacrifice yourself as true, and then he's just like, nah, I'm the paladin, I got this, and he takes the bullet for everybody.
Yeah, no, that's a big swing. I mean, big swings have to be met with big swings, Niki made a very bold choice, and the only reaction that you can have from there on is to make bold choices, because at that point it's what it takes for the story to continue in a compelling way, is once you raise the stakes and introduce into the world that this is something that this is a choice that somebody could make in this moment. You really set a precedent.
Yeah, you set a lot of precedents of just you can get to the end of a quest and get a thing and just blow it up. Just like the thing that you thought was going to happen, nope.
But I always feel like that's the difference between True and Balmain. True is always going to be the young, careless,
more reactionary.
Yeah, there's action now, consequence later, while Balmain's thought now, what's going to be the consequence and how do we avoid it. So True is always going to be the person to worry about, and nobody should give her anything.
You set the precedent of character sacrifice to save the rest of the group, and just not even the sacrifice of death, the sacrifice of retiring them way before, and especially because it was your father figure in the group. sacrificing himself. It was a whole thing.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And then later on, you get two other father figures who become your dwarf father figures, who are just like doting on you, and now you're going out with this giraffe humanoid boyfriend of yours.
Which, just to set the scene, it's almost like, hey, I'm 8 feet tall, and the two father figures, now are 3 feet, 3.5 feet.
Pretty short.
And, it's not that she doesn't respect them, it's just that she doesn't think of them in the same way as somebody that she sees literally eye to eye with, who is almost as tall as her, who can put her in her place. But she also knows that, okay, she messed up, but there's still not as much of a consequence because she's still so young. Like, hey, I'm still here tomorrow.
It would have been interesting, in that whole last quest you did is true. You were all vying for who was going to be the leader of these beast clans, essentially, of the Aaracockra and the Yuan-Ti and all these ones in this world. Just all the beast folk kind of commingle, have their own clans, but they have one leader who is kind of strongest of everyone. It would have been interesting if True became the leader of all those folks.
But she didn't. It was...
she kind of gave it up. And
yeah.
Ben's character, Susan the Dwarf Man, became the leader of the beast people.
But, it also shows her kind of becoming more of an adult, because for her, she's much bigger and stronger than everybody else, even though she's so young. She could easily just take the flag, put it on there, and she was kind of like, I'm not fit to lead. Clearly. Which
was a good moment of character growth. You all kind of had a discussion about it. You had a minute to just talk who's going to be the leader. We have to pick someone.
Yeah.
And she's like, not me. Not it.
Yeah.
I keep on messing up.
And there's definitely something to be said of those are also the moments where you kind of have to have a sort of a player aftercare. It's the thing that we talk about all the time of just check in with each other and talk to each other and communicate of hey, are we still having fun? Or do you think we're gonna be able to pull something out of this? Hey, are you guys still comfortable to try to see where this story can go from here? I mean, it sounds like you figured something out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's always battles that we have with each character, right? Where we almost try to not put ourselves in the character's shoes, but let the character kind of grow in or out of whatever they're trying to be, whether it's, for themselves, with everything that they've happened or who's come across. So it's nice to see when they grow organically instead of us trying to put ourselves in this and being force them to grow.
Yeah. It's, there's, I don't remember where I heard this or read this or what it was talking about, but I just remember something to the effect of, characters at the beginning of a story, they have to have something that they want and something that they need. And in the best kinds of stories, a character's wants and needs will change. Either they get to the moment where their want is fulfilled, but they realize that what they need is something different. A character that wants to prove themselves to their community, to their, wants to prove themselves to their tribe or whatever, but what they actually need is, the found family and the, support structure that comes with, the adventuring party that they join. The friends that they make. Literally, treasure was the friends we made along the way. That's the difference between, what do they want and what do they need? And how does what they want change as their wants and needs are either fulfilled or not, or as the story progresses, how do those things change and what does that mean for that character? And Niki, I feel like you do that so organically, I feel.
You do.
Well, I try not to put myself in that position because, like, half of the time I'm like, okay, if I'm true, I'm not reading what the magic does. I'm just going for it. If I'm Balmine, I'm going to be very calculated. Because that's who the character is. So I almost have to, like I said, take myself out of it. Because if I put myself in it, it's just going to be me, Niki, doing things. And, you know, it's not going to be as fun.
Kind of the point of the game is to be somebody else.
Yeah, that's tough for me sometimes. It's hard for me to take my brain out of the character and just like, what would the character do instinctively? That's tough for me to do. So yeah, you do it naturally. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me too.
I love character creation. I think it's fun for everybody to create a brand new character and almost have something brand new on the table, a fresh perspective on things. Because we play ourselves every day in life. Oh my god, I'm getting super philosophical. Somebody stop me.
No, that's the point of this.
Yeah, so it's almost like you almost take yourself out, and I'm not the manager of whatever, you know, caring about 10 or however many agents, but now I'm Valmine, this girl who's out for vengeance on her sister who's definitely evil. So it just takes your mind off of everything, but you almost get engulfed. It's like playing a video game. You know, you're not going to move and play spells, but each character should be a little different from another. Otherwise, it gets so mundane. I was almost going to say Beyonce and Sasha Fierce, but I'm like, nobody talks about that anymore, and this is not the early 2000s. So,
but it's honestly, it's a great like comparison where it's like a lot of artists talk about how, you know, once they're on the stage, the lights are on, the band's playing, they feel like a completely different person. There are a lot of artists that you see, like, I know I keep bringing her up, but I can't not. But Florence Welch, when you see her in interviews, she talks like a church mouse. She's like, she just looks like she's so anxious. She looks like she's like about to implode. But then you watch her perform, and like that is a charismatic cult leader who's like absolutely going to like take over the world. Like, it's just so amazing to me, like, when people do that, and that's the power of performance. We all contain multitudes, and you can take, you know, one aspect and spin it out into, okay, let's switch out everything else, we're going to keep this thing, or, you know, I have this set of personality traits, what if there's a person that just is the complete and utter opposite? How do you get in that mindset? How does that person react to situations? And I like that you have these like key words that you seem to keep coming back to describe True and to describe Val. Like, you know, Val is no nonsense, goal oriented, and True is naive and young and chaotic. And like it's great in character creation when people can boil down their characters to like a couple of key words, because when in doubt, you lean on that. Like, I don't know what my character would do right now. Okay, what are her baseline character traits? Do that.
Yeah.
You know, if it's somebody who go.
But it's true, because sometimes and not to be like, it's true, but we almost start deviating from what we originally thought this character would be, right? So as we're playing, we tend to kind of fall back on our basic characters, and we forget that these characters are unique in their own personalities and what they would do. So sometimes, because we play these different characters, sometimes you're sitting there and you're like, oh, you know, yeah, she could be a leader. And it's like, but should she be though? Like, Val,
yeah,
leader, great. Yes, go ahead and lead. But True, you might want to step back a little bit and think about that again. But we don't think about that in the moment. After the fact, like, oh, True wouldn't really do that. Or, okay, that person is actually what my other character would do.
Yeah. And so what you're describing is like, because there's a difference between, like, knowing what a character would not do and acknowledging that your character has grown and what they would do now is not necessarily what they would have done at the beginning of the adventure. You know, like, people change. Yes.
100%.
But people change within the parameters of their own sort of, like, frame, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are still certain things that will shift a little bit, but like, fundamentally don't really change. Does that make sense?
100%.
So
they evolve at their own pace. It's for us, it's nice because you can see where the changes are supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You know, playing a third person almost, you're kind of like, oh, that's a traumatic event. That's what trauma looks like. As like humans, I'm like, oh, I have immigrant parents. Oh, that's what trauma is years later.
It's
in the moment we don't know what trauma or, pivotal moments look like.
Yeah, 100%. That's hilarious. That, like, you're so right, and I really haven't thought about it that way before, where it's like, yeah, you are being this person, yes, but you're also watching this person, so you can see, like, oh, she just killed a baby. This is going to affect her. Whereas, you know, real people in real life, as we go along our day, we don't know. It's hard to acknowledge as things are happening that this moment that I am living in right now is going to affect me forever. It's waking up one day 15 years after the fact and going, oh, that fucked me up, didn't it?
But that's why I also like those games, like, you know, those video games where, and I don't remember what they're called, but where you make decisions and then it, like, pops up, it's like, oh, that made a change in the storyline.
Oh yeah, he will remember that.
The Telltale games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know, like, we've been playing, it's like an old game, the Walking Dead ones.
Mm-hmm.
They have, like, I think there's 4 of them that they have.
I think so.
And also the one with the robots, I can't think of the game either.
Robots.
It's a little bit newer of a game.
Detroit.
It's like the robots they
Detroit
look like
become
humans.
human.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that's
anyways,
not Telltale, but that's the same type of, you have to make decisions and in the moment.
You know, the game's so self-aware. I mean, there's only so many things you can do, but it's so self-aware of, like, hey, you made a bad decision. And it's like, they'll never forget that. And you're like, fuck. Sorry, I don't know if I can curse on the podcast.
I've been cursing. You're fine.
Oh, cool. Let me just get it all out now. But it's the same thing. It's just, we're just more aware of it playing as a third party.
Yeah. And those moments, like, not to be the person, but yes, to be the person that's, like, D&D can serve as a therapeutic sort of outlet. It's those moments where you can, in observing somebody else go through something that does ultimately change them, you can sort of go, wait, hold on. Not that you necessarily went through a similar or the exact same situation, but there are moments where, like, afterwards when you're thinking about it, you go, oh, wait, like, it almost gives you, like, a second to reflect on your own life, and it's like, wait, if I had observed that thing that happened to me from a third person, I would have understood. Like,
but it also gives you that,
knowing that, hey, people tried to warn me.
Yeah. But we get so wrapped up in it as well, so even though it happens to our characters, like, even in real life, we tend to feel it as well. You know, like, taking a break after, you know, the death of a fake baby. And
I was gonna say, it's hard for us to even say it because of, like, how much it's scarred us.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, it affects you as a person. You're like, I am never gonna use a knife that has been frozen ever again. I'm not touching a cold knife. You can't make me. It's like, that's not how it works in the real world, but okay.
I mean, that's the power of imagination. Sometimes you imagine something so hard that it becomes a real
Traumatic.
thing in your brain.
You feel what you think that would feel like in real life.
Yeah, the brain is kind of is so easily tricked into believing that something that never happened.
Yeah.
And when a moment is that powerful in a game and you're immersed, and I'm sure that when you describe the story, I can imagine the image of, this of you in this house and this guy in front of you and this baby in it. But really what was actually happening was a bunch of nerds around a table were, talking shop on, are you sure you want to use this fake thing? But it's still like visceral.
Yeah.
But even True doing something in a game almost makes everybody else angry. Okay, she destroyed. I feel like Valmine's like cool and everything, and then True's just fucking everything up.
Your chaotic side. That's you indulging your chaotic side. Your youthful chaotic side.
That ended a long ago. Chaos still there. Youth. Oof. But her destroying this time wand or staff, made those who you're friends with like upset. So it's just kind of like, okay, it's just a game, guys, and it's like, not to me. This is life, and you're like, shit.
I can get part of that, of just like, ever invested this time and they wanted to do this thing, but then like part of the potential or part of the game, part of the package that could come with it is like someone could blow it up at any time.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's still fun to. I think for me, it's very exciting when the DM almost gets frozen.
Oh yeah. Oh, for me too.
That to
when you give me those moments of just like, I don't know what to do. All right, that's when I'm the most fun.
I mean, thankfully, it was at the end of the session, not at the beginning of the session, where you're just like, well, that was it. Thank you guys for clearing off your night or your day. We'll reconvene in 2 weeks or next week or whatever the case might be. But for me,
if you did that at the beginning of the session, everyone would, like, you would have had to face everyone in person, and I would just be like, all right, pause. I have to figure out what happens now.
But I think this was also, during COVID times, so everything was virtual, thankfully.
Yes, it was. Yes. So you didn't have to. You weren't in the room with everyone when that happened.
Didn't have to feel anybody's wrath. I was good to go.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. I'm of two minds of the D&D as therapy. I definitely don't think it should be used as a therapy session unless you're a therapist. But we've also had folks on in the past who said it's been therapeutic because, it does help them work through stuff or helps them think in a way or act in a way that they wish they could normally, and lets them do it in a safe way. So, like, I'm of two minds. I think it's fine when everyone at the table kind of understands that, but also no one's throwing their problems on other people in the game. When it gets to that point, it's like, no, now you've crossed the line. Mm-hmm.
There's a healthy balance.
Yeah, there's a healthy balance. I think that's a good way to put it. So last major thing. So we've talked about your two kind of major player moments, Valmine and True. Mm-hmm. I've killed you in other games, but those were just like one shots where it was like messing around.
You mean my bird person?
You had a bird person who got killed by a dragon.
Literally missed one session, and then the second session you decided to murder me.
It was a 2-shot, fine. I didn't decide to murder you. You put yourself in front of that dragon, and there was no one else to, for it to look at. And it was like, enemy, kill. Because I'm a dragon and you're trying to steal my stuff.
I couldn't move, and, I just wore the body of another.
It was just a bunch of bad stuff. But, so that's your player stuff. But you are also running your own game right now, which I'm a part of. Been on hiatus, obviously, because of IRL, having to do a wedding and all the stuff that entails.
I know, it's crazy.
So you don't have to go into all the details of it, but like, what's that been like? Because you yourself are pretty like organized and pretty kind of leader person if you want to be. So how's it feel going from one side of the screen to the other?
It's been interesting. I feel like I still haven't gotten the full handle on being a DM. Starting off, I can tell I'm not the best storyteller, and I think that that's where it really comes down to. Where, to be a good storyteller, you almost have to describe everything to a T. What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? Because there is no pictures. Or there's very few pictures. So, but it's been interesting. I didn't realize when I started my game that it was so similar to Dragon Ball Z.
You didn't realize that?
I realized that after somebody else put it out there.
Me, specifically, at the table, right there.
I feel like we're pointing fingers, and that's just not cool, man.
We're in the game, and, in the beginning, we're kind of mercenaries, just kind of doing one-shots, and eventually it becomes a bigger quest. And, okay, we try to figure out what is this bigger quest that we're doing. We're starting to collect these orbs that do a thing. So we're like, oh, what do these orbs do? Oh, there's 7 of them. And if you get them together, it summons a dragon who gives you a wish. Lisa, what is that?
That's Dragon Ball Z.
Well, so let's actually.
And I know you know what Dragon Ball is, Niki. Don't try to play like you've never heard of this.
Let's go back a little bit, okay? So before we get to that portion, you guys started off as bounty hunters, so it didn't go into that until
a little while,
a little bit later,
a good many sessions.
So it originally started off as bounty hunters, and then you guys decided to go rogue. Take the bait. So you guys could have still been bounty hunters, but you took a different bait.
We were like, no, we want a big quest. We don't want to just do this want to be bounty hunters and just get money. No, we want to go on an adventure.
Well, originally you were either going to be on one end of the story or the other end, and you chose the opposite end of where you guys were supposed to be. So
it's our fault.
Because it still ties together. I'm not putting any blame, but if you say it out loud, you can take the reins.
But yeah, we went from a pretty one-shot kind of Spartan in multiple ways campaign to actually being a full-blown, explore this world Niki's created, go off the beaten path, adventure to figure out what's going on with these wishing orbs and this dragon. Did you legitimately not draw the parallels between Dragon Ball Z until I called that out?
Yeah, so I was just like, okay, orbs, rainbow dragon, and then you said it out loud, and I was like, that's what it reminded me of.
I knew this reminded me of something.
If I was in Hollywood right now, I'd get sued left and right. But thankfully, I'm not in Hollywood. No offense, Lisa, but...
No one needs to be here. This place doesn't need to exist.
So
that's
the first bit, storytelling. Yeah. I did not help you plan this, so she just spontaneously came up with the Dragon Balls, and that's what we're after.
It was just so it was just kind of I feel like it was just randomly hey, you guys go in there. I have it in my back of my pocket, but I was like, okay, and then I was like, okay, you guys are going this way, and you guys figured that one out really quickly. Well, let's throw this little seasoning in there and see what they do with it. But you all took the bait, and so here you guys are.
Yeah, absolutely, we took the bait. So
which is a little against your character.
I was gonna say, me as Varun, yes, very cautious. I like to think things through, but I'm playing a barbarian in that game, so it's like, yo, something showed up. All right, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely will have new characters because some of the players can't play anymore. So it'll be interesting to have like almost new.
We'll figure it out.
Dynamics. So I'm interested in that because you guys have already found.
How did that work with you? Because you went through obviously some of the folks who were playing before and originally had to drop out, and then you brought in new people. So how was it like? You had to go through the process of like, okay, how do I write someone out, and how do I get a new person in? Like, what was that like mentally?
I feel like that's not super difficult. Like, even for Ben, getting into a new chapter in his real world life of having, having a child come into the world and needing to take a step
one
back.
On the way.
Yeah. For him, writing him out, it kind of went with the game. Especially after, him being so interested in the dentist session.
We fought a bunch of dentist monsters who like to collect teeth. It's real weird.
Ooh,
that's one thing
I like that.
That's one thing about your games, Nikki. You just have weird ideas. You're just like, I'm just gonna do this, and whatever happens, happens.
No, I love that.
Like, it was almost like they would, pull teeth out, and then as soon as they put him in their mouth, they were able to take on the
dentist mimic.
Yeah, they took on the form of that person.
You come up with weird ideas.
There was one where it was like a yeti mixed with a worm. And it was some like sort of like freak science experiment where they were trying to like mix animals that shouldn't be, but like a witch knew about it because she's a witch, and let's be honest, witches know everything, to the dentist's teeth mimics.
To us having, I think in the last session, we had to create a plane.
We had to create a plane.
We had to create an aeroplane to get to the next area that we needed to get to.
And
which
planes
obviously
don't really exist in this world. So,
a fantasy setting. We had to create a fantasy plane.
First of all, the plane was pretty much already built by somebody, but you guys made fun of him and pretty much like were mean to him the whole time. And then like he was like, "Can I join you on your adventures?"
His plane did seem kind of janky.
But you guys were like, "Oh, look over there," and then ran away as soon as he's like, "Can I join on your adventures?" And you're like, "No."
No, he's gonna get killed if he tries to come with us. He's a boob.
His mom said he could.
His mom said he could come adventuring with us.
So, I mean, I tried to make it very my personality. Not the cool part, but the very weird part. Just to keep it a little fresh. So, seems like it's working. So I'll take it from there.
Yeah, so, like, what has it been like as the DM? Because going from a player, you don't know what's coming, you just have to keep track of your stuff. So what's it like going to becoming the DM? Because, like, I know I was always asking you, like, can I do this, or can I do this, or can we work this thing into here? Were other people asking you that too?
I think it was just more like, I'm going to do this, and I was like, I think I just had to come up with so many different scenarios of like, okay, well, what if they said this? And for my brain, I'm like, okay, think of the weirdest things. Because if I think of just normal yes or no's, I'm not going to get that response. Like, I had to have to think of like, what would I do? So I was prepared for everything.
All right, you did the over prepare method, but I mean out of game, because like I've asked you about my character's barbarian, so he wants to get tattoos of his beast totems, and that'll be his totems.
I have to think about those things and how to build them in, which it almost took a little bit of revamping certain methods or certain. You come up to this village, and okay, I have to rewrite it a little bit so that it can possibly fit in what you're looking for. But it's never a for sure thing. It's almost like, okay, maybe if they do everything right, you'll get that.
And then you as the DM, is it just like, God damn it, another thing?
Oh yeah, 100%. You're very annoying when it comes to your wands. I'm not sugarcoating shit. Like,
that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, so you, Niki, like, what's your mindset?
Want me to tell you that you're annoying? Okay.
Not necessarily. Not just me, because I'm not the only player involved. Like, yeah. So, like, how do you deal with like all the stuff that we throw your way in and
so
out
here's
of
the thing.
session?
Like, I feel like the group has changed so many times within it, within this this campaign. So it's not like the same person's asking. Like now we have a new group, but I don't know, if they're gonna continue. But
one person specifically, yeah, they should all be able to play. It's just we need to find a time.
Yeah. So eventually I'll come back to it.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot more prepping, right? So I can't go ahead and just like come up with it like an hour before. So for me, it takes me, a little bit of here, a little bit of there, whenever I have free time. So, but we'll eventually get back to it.
All right. Good to know. You don't just come up with it the hour ahead of when we're supposed to do the thing.
No.
Wow.
We'll burn everything down.
Just at me next time, Varun.
I wasn't pointing fingers as we were saying here.
No, you were just, I could hear in your voice, I can hear you pointedly looking at me. From across the country. I can feel it.
Across the United States.
I will say this as well. I'm not as versed in, the monsters or...
The monsters.
Monsters. Or some of the spells. Like, I feel like you, Lisa, are a lot more... Like, you can come up with things on the fly because you know a lot more.
I really appreciate that vote of confidence. I think, okay, I will say this. Yes, the accusation is correct. Every time we would play in the game that I was running and Varun was in, I did not do any planning between each session, and then it would be like 2 hours before, and I would be messaging the group chat like, hey, we're gonna jump on like 30 minutes after I said we would be, because I'm still like putting the maps down on Roll20 and trying to figure out what is the next story beat that we're, like, what's the thing this session. Like, but part of it is because I'm just a nerd for storytelling. I will never claim to be any sort of great writer or anything. I'm just a nerd for storytelling, and you know what? I will toot my own horn. I think I have a pretty decent sense of rhythm when it comes to storytelling. I don't think I even really got to a point where I got to really hit my stride on that game before, the thing happened that happens to like 90% of D&D games, and it just like we just stopped playing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just like, if you have a sense of storytelling, you can tell, like, last session it was mostly roleplay. We didn't really fight anything, or we're still in the early sessions and these characters still don't know each other, so kind of the only thing that they're gonna do is I need to put them in into strenuous situations so that they have to get to know each other, or make them involved in each other's bullshit. So it was really just a matter of like, okay, real quick, who can I fuck with today? Who's gonna be the so sometimes it just like roll a die. I'm like, all right, today's Varun's turn.
That's how you should run your thing, Niki. Next time we get together, all right.
You know what? Next time I'm just gonna whose day am I gonna ruin?
Yeah, and sometimes it's a couple sessions in a row. Sometimes it then becomes like, oh, okay, now we're just actually getting into some plot here, so I don't really have to choose. Like, the story has become such that at this moment, the thing that they are trying to resolve, or the thing that the story is going towards resolving, is something that like directly involves this person. So I don't have to make a choice. It's just, and then like I can revisit whatever, if that person's given me anything about their backstory, I can revisit the backstory, see if there's stuff to pull from there. Or, I learned from Varun to send cryptic text messages
Mm-hmm.
and ask questions.
I still send you those.
Yes.
Listen,
and
I will tell you one thing. Even when my parents start messaging me, I'm like, why? And
Why?
I'm just like, are you... Why? Why do you...
Oh, yeah,
Why are you
no.
asking about this?
Varun has given me some serious trust issues.
100%. Like, even like Matt will come up to me and he'll be like, "Hey, X, Y, and Z," and I was like, "Why do you want to know that?" He's like, "I just need to know what we're like." When he asks me about grocery stuff, I'm like,
what
"Why?"
we're doing about lunch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely don't recommend doing all of your planning 3 hours before your game. Actually, 3 hours is actually a great amount of time. I really wish I'd ever given myself that much time. I was definitely doing it like the hour before.
That's
was
my goal to give to you when you start running at least a plan.
Yeah, I mean, like,
At
that's
all.
that. Like, you know, we ask the question of all of our guests is, what have you learned that you would tell yourself, that you would have, you know, what's the thing that you know now that you wish you knew when you first started doing it? And mine is, give yourself more than 2 hours. Because, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, I don't, for me personally, with at least, like, the way that I just realized that I like to run things, it wasn't so bad to plan on day of, but I need to be more aware of my personal schedule, first of all, but that's something, in general, in my life that I still have not figured out. Varun, don't look at me in that tone of voice.
Looking at you from across the entire United States.
Literally. But yeah, like, time management is absolutely very important. And you can plan same day, but you have to give yourself, like, a couple of hours and give yourself some time to, like, be able to message people if you have to, and, you know, go into Roll20, because we were playing remote, and go into Roll20 and set up the maps, because I'm bad with computers, and that alone would take me like an hour to put a map down, or to, you know, pull when I would do my little, like, mood boards. Yeah, it would take me a minute to, like, pull images and put together the mood board to present, and I would, like, write a little bullet point, or even, like, if there was something that I wanted to describe in a very specific way, I would write a little paragraph. Or if I never got around to, like, them finding letters or books or anything like that, but, you know, if that had come up, I would have wanted to, you know, write out what it is that I was...
What was actually in that
what was actually written, yeah. You know,
Have as, like, a handout or something in Roll20.
Yeah. And this is all stuff that, you know, I've learned over time, you know, just in retrospect of, like, yes, this is what I was doing wrong, and that's kind of why the pacing was not really what I knew it could be, because even I could feel that the pacing was kind of off in that story. And it's also because I didn't... Something that, like, I really underestimate is have an idea of how long you want this game to be. Like, how long do you want it to take to tell this story? Do you 5 sessions, 20 sessions? Like, not in, like, how many years you want it to take, but how many sessions do you want it to take? Because I think like that is a piece of advice that had been given to me before, but I didn't understand it, because it wasn't put in terms of how many sessions. It was put in terms of how long, like how much time, and it didn't really click. But it makes more sense if you frame it as, how many sessions do you want it to take for them to resolve this story?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And I think that, you know, some parts you can't determine, and other parts, like aspects, it's really up to you. You can really pull a storyline really, really long if you want to. Or you can make it super quick. Okay, you got it. Let's go to the next one.
Right. One of the points of having a DM at this table is to have somebody who can be the arbiter of time and say, okay, you're spending 3 days in town while you're waiting for something. Like, we're not going to literally play out 3 days. Just, like, is there something that you want to do? A conversation that you want to have? Research you want to do? Something you want to see? Yes? No? Okay. We're going to resolve that scene. We're going to resolve that scene. We're going to resolve that scene. Have has any of what you've done changed something about the story? Make those notes, come back to those, like, so-and-so will remember this kind of situation, like, what has anything you've done in this little, like, waiting period affected something else in the world? Is there something else going on in the world that maybe the characters don't know about that is time sensitive, and because they've dallied in town for 3 days, now that is going to change when they do finally go to that encounter? Like, that is the function of the DM, is not only to play everybody else in the world, but also to play time. You are time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also think that it sets the expectation with the players. Okay, this is going to be a really long
commitment
campaign, so you have an infinite amount of time. So commitments, but if you tell them, hey, it's pretty much should be over in like 4, 5, 10 sessions. Okay, there's some sense of urgency with them.
Yes,
they're not just free playing.
100%.
I think
I have a feeling that there's like a lot of players that if you were to tell them like, hey, we're going to play this game and the story that you're going to get thrown into, we want to be able to resolve it in 5 sessions. Now those players are going to be making choices that are not only the correct choice for their character, of course, but also the correct choice, not the correct choice, but, they're going to be making choices with the story in mind. And maybe not necessarily everybody is going to have that, like, instinct of, like, that's what we're doing, is we're telling a story, and is what I'm doing serving the story and also serving my character and, serving the big picture and the character story. And, like, not every game has to, be this writing exercise, per se. I'm really just speaking from, like, the types of things that I enjoy, the type of game that I like to be in, and I think that you guys agree in, because most of the games I've played have been with you guys. And where, like, that's the interesting thing, is, like, you go through and you don't know where the story is going, but you're making interesting choices because you want the story to be interesting, not just the beginning of the story and the ending of the story to be interesting, but the stuff in between, the lead up. It's the friends we made along the way.
If they have an idea of how long that's going to be, they're present for that.
Yes. Yeah.
So I will say, Lisa, 5 sessions.
5 sessions?
5 sessions.
5.
That's what I need.
That's what you need to finish.
That's what I need.
Our game. Oh,
5 sessions.
well, tell the others that. Tell everybody else that. I am currently. I could play every single day right now.
You're back to game a days schedule. You had that for a while.
Oh, that was good times.
You were eating good then.
I was eating so good. I really did not appreciate what I had. Another moment of,
you start complaining
in the moment, you don't know how good you have it until you don't have it as good anymore.
4 D&D games in 1 week.
Oh god, that was good times. Because I was literally playing like our game with Dot and Kalia, and then I was playing Layla in the game with Niki when we were starting to go around to the gods to request help. And then it was my game, and then
Austin's game?
No.
Jake's game. Yeah, no, Austin's game
it wasn't
until
like that.
Yeah.
That wasn't even a thing yet. No, this was back in Florida.
So,
this was the beginning. But okay,
for a week, pretty much.
Yeah, to be fair, that was the very beginning of the pandemic. Everybody had a lot of time on their hands.
You started to complain after a while of like, God, so many D&D games.
I got burnt out. Like, you can have too much of a good thing. Yeah. Have you ever
too little of a good thing right now?
Yeah.
All of us.
Nikki, have you ever like experienced any kind of like burnout with D&D where you're just like, I really wish I wasn't having to do this right now?
So it's when we actually had 2 campaigns going, and literally we had 2 campaigns going, plus I was DMing another one, so it was like one after another after another after another. plus working full-time, and my schedule is like 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Oh my god.
So just trying to balance everything, it can be a lot. Now, at that point, I was working from home, so it was a little bit more convenient to finish off with work. But since I'm in sales, that's a demanding job as it is. I never work 10 to 7. Just being honest, like it's always like a little bit later. I'm working weekends, so it's just that I was just like, okay, I gotta focus on one or the other.
And then those campaigns started to end, so like less stuff on your plate after that.
Yeah, and it's not even like you can be like, oh, okay, can we postpone this because you're so close to the end? So you're like, what's gonna happen next? And what about next?
I wanna know.
I gotta know. So now you're just addicted to the stress. And this is why I am who I am.
You're addicted to the stress. Oh, Niki. All right.
Yeah.
It's all right. So I think the last thing you mentioned it a little while ago, Lisa. So new DM coming in, new player coming in, or if you just had time travel and you had some time to write yourself a letter and give yourself some advice from in the past when you were starting out. So what sort of lesson would you impart to someone today?
I would just tell somebody who wants to just start out, have some sort of plan. Don't jump into it with just like I feel like I jumped into my first DMing campaign with just like, okay, they're going to be bounty hunters and calling it a day. But I think just having like a clear, everything that we talked about, a time-wise of how long these sessions are going to be, what is the purpose and what's the end game to it all. Mm-hmm. Now, granted that it might change once you start getting into it and you start seeing who's really the players that are there. But have some, okay, this is where we're going to really end up at the end. And just time-wise what you want to do. Everything else will fall into place. Each campaign or each session will kind of go up and down what you expect, or maybe even throw you in for a loop. But yeah, just some sort of...
That's good advice. Again, good advice for life. Like, if you want to do something, have a timeline on when you want that thing done.
Because it'll really get away from you if you just, like, leave it open-ended.
D&D especially.
Oh my god.
You could be one of those, you could end up lucky and be one of those groups of like, we played D&D together for 40 years and we just kept on going. It's extremely unlikely.
Like the longest game like in Canada or something.
Yeah, that's the group I'm talking about.
I don't ever want to be that person.
I think it would be cool, if like a group could keep together for D&D for 40 years, but that's very hard.
No. I'm like, no, I'll have a margarita and sit here.
I think there's a little part of you that would want it.
I don't even like living in the same home for more than 2 years. You think I'm going to want to be in the same game for for 40 years? No. That's crazy talk.
Agree. Ditto.
Oh my god. But with all that said, so when I'm coming to Florida in December, I'm definitely playing a game with you, Niki, right?
Yes, I'm going to be here the whole month of December.
Yes. I'm just going to bust in and you're just going to have... I've gotten much weirder with how I play this game.
I'm in for like a Dot and Valmine reunion.
We're going to do that. We are going to do that at some point.
Oh my god. Let's have their story resolve first, and then we'll do that.
Preferably if we could get everyone in person as well. You're in LA, but you have a mom here, so you can visit here once in a while, Lisa.
Listen, I'm totally down for going to Varun's house and using the cover the cover of the box as a cat catcher.
Oh man, I miss having all those little
fatter.
guys.
He's not going in that box anymore. He's way too fat.
Oh,
no, he'll still go into the box.
He'll still go in the box.
I'm saying he's not going in that box.
He will still try
that box.
I feel
that's
like
fine.
That's not for you to decide.
Why are you body shaming your cat, Varun?
He's fat. He's gotten so fat. And he's too fat for the box now.
That's not how we talk to animals.
How could you limit the possibilities of his life like this?
How could he limit the possibilities of his life by becoming a balloon?
He's just
You're
just
cat shaming,
powerful.
and that's just not really cool. You don't know what that cat's going through.
No, you're right. I don't.
See?
He's also not going in that box.
Oh man. You know what else is not going in that box? This episode, because it's done. We're done here.
I mean, it's in the box. It's in the
It's
can.
in the box already. It's yeah, okay, fine. What I don't know. Go away. Goodbye.
Do
Talking
the
about
plugs,
body
Lisa!
shaming, I'm ready
Oh!
to eat, so...
The plugs. Alright. Nikki, do you have plugs? I don't know. No.
I would like to plug No.
Ooh.
Sponsored by No.
Oh, I wish.
I'm gonna plug Nope, the Jordan Peele movie. It's very good. I'm gonna plug Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix. That's a good time. I forgot to talk about that in the Marin, and that's honestly like the best thing I've watched in a while.
God
and
damn it,
I'm
Lisa!
gonna be mad about it. No, it's okay. It's a fun little treat for the people who actually survived until the end of this episode. If we're gonna call it an episode, which we're calling it an episode.
Yes.
You're getting this content. It's good content.
This is a chunker episode.
And what you're going to do is you're going to like, comment, and subscribe. You're going to go to our Patreon. You're going to give me $1. You're going to go onto our Discord, and you're going to tell us about the times that dragons have
Talk to us on Twitter.
fucked your shit up. Yeah, talk to us on Twitter. I'm going to be making us a Tumblr because Twitter is kind of going to the dogs.
I was going to say, yeah. Twitter's kind of going down the tubes. If you're doing the Tumblr thing... That seems like your bag. I mean...
Yeah, no. I think that'll probably end up being where we're going to be the most active. And by we, I mean me.
By Lisa specifically.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna be me.
It's gonna be me. I haven't used Tumblr since 2014.
I want to do the thing where we just
So
pay like $10 and it just blasts out our stuff to random people. I just love that idea.
just a random post that just says
Yeah.
like... Mimics, huh? What's the deal with that?
Yeah.
Pay $10 to just put it on everybody's timeline. Look forward to seeing that on your timelines.
I'm okay with that.
I'm gonna try to get Oops All Dragons as the URL. We'll make an announcement on our other socials, Instagram, Twitter.
All
Probably
things.
like the YouTube thing where you can post just like a post.
We can't do that yet.
We can't do that?
We have to get a certain amount of subscribers before we can do that.
So tell your friends to subscribe so that we can post things.
All
and
the things.
yeah, tell your friends about how like, hey, there's a podcast about people who talk about D&D. So you don't actually have to like, yeah. And, you know, if you're a person who wants to come and talk to us, like, come and talk to us. Reach out on our various socials and get on the Discord. If you slide us $1, maybe we'll be even more.
Dragons.
We'll be ever more inclined to have you on the episode. Is that coercion? Is that shitty? I don't know. But yeah, with all that said, with all that done, y'all know the drill. Keep listening. Keep rolling them dice. I don't know.
Hey.
Go home. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Oops All Dragons is a group effort. Our show is edited by Noel Hernandez, our theme was composed by Brendan Lyons, and our logo art is by Azif On Q. Links to more of their work and their social media will be in the show notes. Find us on YouTube and Spotify, and check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Oops All Dragons.